Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saranalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Taptakañcana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, welcome all to today's class. So, we are in chapter number 4. The chapter name is Transcendental Knowledge. And we are in verse number 15. So, before that, we saw that in this chapter, Krishna says that he has given this knowledge to uh, Vivaswan, the sun god, and sun god got it to Manu, and then he gave this knowledge to Ishwaku. In this way, the disciplic succession was going on, but then within some time it got broken, and then Krishna started the new line again with the help of Arjuna. And then Arjuna asked that, how can I understand this? Because uh, you are born after Vivaswan. So then Krishna says that I have taken so many births and you also taken, but I remember all and you cannot remember them. And then he says that I am born in my imperishable body and I appear in every yuga by your own energy. So whenever there is a decline in religious principles and there is increase in adharma, that time Krishna appears. And Krishna appears to also deliver the pious and to enlighten the miscreants and to reestablish the religion. So this way, Krishna says that why I'm appearing here. And anybody who knows this, that why Krishna appears, is also then delivered from the birth and death cycle. So then, how we know that one actually knows Krishna? Then he must be devoid of fear, anger, and take a refuge in Krishna alone. So this is a way. And then further, Krishna reciprocates with worshippers more. So the way we worship Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And then the different degrees of realization is given. And then people worship demigods, and what happens with them, Krishna says. And then Krishna says about the four Chaturvarna, the Chatur Ashrama, and the four orders which Krishna created so that the world can run smoothly. And then Krishna says that even though I made this all, it doesn't affect me. So this is how where we ended. And now Krishna is saying that by understanding about this, then what will happen is previously all the Asian people also got liberated, and you also should follow the footsteps. So this is the verse number 15. Let's start with this verse. Evam gyatva kritam karma purve api mumukshubhi kuru karme vatasmatvam purve purvataram kritam. Evam thus gyatva, knowing well, kritam was performed, karma work purve by past authorities, api indeed, mumukshubhi, who attain liberation, kuru just perform, karma prescribed duty, eva certainly, tasmat therefore, tvam you, purve by the predecessors, purvataram in ancient times, kritam as performed. All the liberated souls nation times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following their footsteps. So whoever got liberated in the past got liberated by understanding my transcendent nature. That's what Krishna says. And therefore, we should understand his nature and then perform our duty, following the footsteps of previous acharyas. Purport, there are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow the exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. So, Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for all. Somebody who is materially polluted can get benefited and can gradually be purified, and somebody who is actually purified can help others to also get purified. So, Krishna consciousness is always helpful for everybody. So anybody from any path or any part of the life can start their Krishna consciousness. Those who are already cleansed of impurities also may go further advance and they may attain further stages of bhava and prema, so that everybody has something in Krishna consciousness. Foolish person neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So many times when we see there are new devotees who come and in their neophyte stage or newness, they said, I want to retire from active life, I want to join ashram, I want to become a monk and all. So many times we see such things, but it is not out of mature decision, but because they want to run away from the duties they are carrying. So most of the times this is the case that because of they want to do nothing in life, they come to Krishna consciousness. So this is not the way. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. So this is not approved by Krishna here, and Arjuna also wanted to retire from activities, but Krishna said that you should act. So now one should not make a show of acting in Krishna consciousness and sitting alone in one place and doing some things. Better is to engage in activities of Krishna and thereby gradually purify one's heart. If one's heart is not purified, if one sits in alone place or makes a show of Krishna consciousness, it will not help much. Within some days or months, his whole activities will stop. So better to gradually engage yourself and purify once, and then as one is purified and after some time with the permission of the seniors and all, then one may retire at the proper age and then dedicate fully in chanting and hearing on all the activities. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness following the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as sun god Vivaswan, as mentioned here before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as those of persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of sun god who learned his art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons, engaged in the discharge of duties allocated by Krishna. So, we are being recommended here to follow the footsteps of past acharyas. Following the footsteps doesn't mean that we imitate them, but we do what they has said us to do. Because imitating acharyas is not easy for us and we may spoil our bhakti, but we may follow in their footsteps and try to do what we can in our capacities. And then gradually we may be elevated. So this knowledge was always there and will always be there, and it is useful for all. So the principles of Bhagavad Gita are universally applicable for all lives of from all places, and therefore this is a universal book which has to be studied. And then in verse number 16 to 24, now Krishna will explain what is karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma and all. So these all verses that understanding karma on the platform of jnana. So by knowledge, what is karma, what is akarma, and what is vikarma, that is what is prescribed action, what is inaction, that is doing action but without any fruity results, and then the vikarma or prohibited actions. So what are these three will be explained by Krishna in the following verses. So let's see verse number 16. Kim karma kim karmeti kavayo api atra mohita tatte karma pravakshyami yat gyatva mokshase ashubhan. Kim, what is karma action? Kim, what is akarma inaction? It is thus kavayo, the intent api also. Atara in this matter, mohita are bewildered, that they unto you, karma work, prakshyami, I shall explain, yat which, gyatva knowing, moksha say, you will be liberated, ashubhat from ill fortune. Translation. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action, what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So to understand what is action, what is inaction is not so easy. Even the most intelligent person may not know that somebody is not acting, even outwardly it may see that he is acting, and at the same time somebody is acting, maybe outwardly seeing that he is not doing anything. So these are not very easy to understand the concepts, but Krishna will explain us, and because he will explain us, we will be able to understand some things. Purport: action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. So, why we should follow the previous acharyas is explained before, and why we should not do independent action will be explained in the next verses. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in the line of disciplic succession as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ishwaku. And the system is current to this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent man will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. So, if we follow the instructions of previous acharyas, the chances are that we will not get bewildered. Otherwise, most of the times will not understand only what the things are to be done. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principal religion can only be laid down by Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, verse 19. No one can manufacture religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kamaras, Kapila, Pradada, Bhishma, Sukdev Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Badi Maharaj. So the names are given. These are all the Mahajanas. And these Mahajanas have described by their own examples how to become Krishna conscious and what are the principles to be followed. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. So when the act is done in Krishna consciousness or in consciousness of Vishnu Tattva, any Vishnu Tattva, then what happens is it can help one deliver from this entitlement of material existence, and therefore one need uh, to always do activities in Krishna consciousness, so that eventually one is freed from the entitlement of birth and death cycle. And it should be done moment by moment. So morning, when we get up, we may be very much enlightened and we may do so many devotional service, like hearing, chanting, reading and all. But in the day also, every moment, whatever we do, we should do everything in Krishna consciousness, the way Krishna wants us to do. In this way, gradually, we'll become Krishna conscious the whole day, and this is the way how we should do the things. And then we will get out of this material world. And now in verse number 17 further, he says, Karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Karmana of work is certainly api also. Bodhavyam should be understood. Bodhavyam should be understood. Cha also vikarma of forbidden work. Akarmana of inaction. Cha also bodhavyam should be understood. Gahana very difficult. Karmana of work. Gati entrance. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So, this action, inaction, and forbidden action are not very easy to understand. And therefore, one should properly understand these things and terminologies. And therefore, Krishna will further explain all these terminologies also in the further verses. Purport is one is serious about liberation from material bondage. One has to understand the distinction between action, inaction, unauthorized action. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, perverted actions, because it is very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relation with the Supreme. That is, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servant of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusion against this consciousness and its attendant actions are weak karmas or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent persons will be bewildered. So this purport is self-explanatory, that if one is serious that one has to go back to God, one has to be liberated from material bondage, then one has to make distinction between what is action, inaction, and unauthorized action. So one has to certainly keep away from unauthorized action, which should not be done at all. And between action and inaction, most of the times, if work is done in Krishna consciousness, it is like inaction only, because there is no reaction being made. And then, where is necessary, actions are to be performed. So, verse number 18 says how to see action in action and inaction in action. So, this is verse number 18. कर्मणि अकर्मणि यत् पश्चेत् अकर्मणि च कर्मय सबुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु सयुक्त कृष्ण कर्मकृत्. कर्मणि in action, akarma in action. Here one who paschet observes, akarmani in inaction, cha also karma fruitive action. Here one who he buddhi man is intelligent, manusheshu in human society, he yukta is in the transcendent position, Krishna karma krit, although engaged in all activities. So one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is entire among man, and he is not in the and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So one can see that one is doing no acting or taking no reactions, even though one is acting, and one sees that one is not acting anything, but he is getting so many reactions. That is intelligent person among men, and thus a person is in transcendent position, and he may be engaged in all sorts of activities. He may do so many 10 things, but please understand that he is acquiring no reaction for work, and therefore whatever work is done by him is in the category of inaction or akarma. Purport: a person acting in Krishna consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna, therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. It's a very important point that if one is acting for Krishna, then he does not suffer or enjoy any of the effects of work. Therefore, the devotees have generally no suffering, and whatever suffering one may go through in a life is not because the karma, but because Krishna is directly giving us the punishment so that one may be rectified and one may become closer to Krishna. The whole purpose is only to make the devotee pure enough so that one can go back to God. Otherwise, one does not have to suffer karma once he becomes Krishna consciousness and worships Krishna in any of the forms. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society even though he is engaged in all sorts of activity for Krishna. Such a person is very intelligent because he does everything for Krishna, and therefore acquires no karma or vikarma. Akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist ceases productive activities out of fear so that the resultant action may not be a stumbling block on the path of self-realization. But personalist knows rightly his position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of his service. Those who are engaged in this service process are known to be without a desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. So, uh, actually, the impersonalist people, they say that we'll do no work because there'll be some reaction, and such. It's very difficult for them to go back to God because we are always active. We need to do some work. So one cannot keep himself unengaged or doing no work for a long time. It is not possible. We will do something or other. Our mind is constantly doing something or other. And therefore, what we need to do is engage everything in Krishna consciousness so that we get purified eventually, and so that we cannot accrue any karma. So, when one does everything for Krishna, he enjoys transcendent happiness in discharge service. What does it mean? It does not mean that one, when works for Krishna, he gets only good things in life. There are no obstacles or there are no punishments or there are no problems in life. It doesn't mean like this. What does it mean is every problem, every block, every obstacle in the life of a devotee, his service to Krishna, and therefore he gets transcendental happiness. So even in the midst of difficulties, he is transcendently happy because he knows very well that Krishna is reciprocating with me and I am doing everything for Krishna. And therefore, there may be unhappiness for if we see outwardly, but inwardly he's having transcendental happiness. Like we see the example of Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was involved in the land of Juhu in India, so there were a lot of obstacles. And the owner, Mr. Nair, was a so fraudulent person who will sell the same land to different person and then take the money. So we understand from Mr. Nair that what he will do is he would take the land, and he would again what he would do is he would then cheat the persons. So if we see, devotees and Prabhupada went through so many struggle, and after going through so many struggle also, Prabhupada was never unhappy or something. He was constantly blissful, and therefore he was going on discharging duties. For us, we may see that ISKCON went through so many turbulence at that point of times, and so many challenges it faced. At so many places, devotees were persecuted, they were tortured, and so many things happened. But if we see from the viewpoint of Prabhupada or Krishna, that is transcendental happiness, because it is done for Krishna, and doing any service for Krishna itself generates so many happiness that the pain which is experienced outwardly has no effect. So the pain which we get in our life, or the problems we get in our life, has nothing to do with the happiness which what we can experience in our life. So one may get some disease, but one may remain happily in that disease, and may live with that happy with the pain. So the one who is Krishna conscious is immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. So this is very important, that one who works for Krishna has no reactions for his work, and therefore he can go on working for his whole life and get liberated. So then in verse number from say 19 and further, so the different stages are given, and then in this verse he is saying that his work, because he's doing without desire for sense enjoyment, his all relation are being destroyed. So let's see verse number 19. Yasva sarve samarambha kama sankalpa bhajita jnanagni dagda karmana tam ahu panditam buddha. So here, yasya, one who's survey all sorts of samarambha attempts, kama based on desire for sense gratification, sankalpa determination, varjita are devoid of jnana of perfect knowledge, agni by the fire, dagda burnt, karmana whose work, tam him ahu declare, panditam learned, buddha those who know. Translation: one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification, is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So, when one is understood that he is in full knowledge, when whatever he does not do for sense gratification, but he does only for Krishna, then he is understood in knowledge. So when one does work for himself, he is understood that he is still not enlightened. But when one does work only for Krishna, that means that he is in full knowledge. And for that person, what happens is all the reactions of work are already burned up, and therefore he will definitely go back to God. and this is because he has knowledge. So work done with knowledge and work done without knowledge has a lot of difference. So when work is done with knowledge, we get lot of good results. But when work is done without knowledge, we do not get such good results. And therefore, whenever we should do some work, we should do work in knowledge that we are doing this work for Krishna, and because of that, we will get transcendental happiness and will increase our devotion. Purport: only a person in full knowledge can understand the activities of a person in Krishna consciousness. So one who is in Krishna consciousness may understand the activities of Krishna person in Krishna consciousness. Outsider may not understand all these things. So therefore, one need to know to understand the activities of person in Krishna consciousness. Because the person in Krishna consciousness is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities, it is to be understood that he has burned up the reactions of his work by perfect knowledge of his constitutional position as the eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are two things in this. He is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities means not just activities of sense gratification, but the propensities, that is either nature or the see, when we do some work, when we do some actions, there are impressions which are there in our mind because of that actions we do. So whenever some action is being performed, one is we get the reaction of the action which we do, and second is the impression remains, and the impressions remain in our mind or in our heart, which propel us to do the wrong thing again. Like I will give you one simple example. Suppose somebody is drinking. So drinking is bad for health, but when he drinks, he gets some kind of enjoyment. And because of that, what happens, there's an impression which is printed in his mind. So next time when he sees some drink which is not good for the health, what happens is try to restrict with his intelligence, but because he has got his previous impressions, uh, which thing that makes him happy, he will not be able to resist the temptation of taking that drink, even though it is harmful. So, more than the reaction of work, the most difficult is to remove the past impressions of that work. Like suppose say some gulab jamun kept or something kept. So as soon as we see the gulab jamun, what happens is some water comes in our mouth and we like to eat that gulab jamun instantly. So how does such action occur where we have saliva in our mouth and we want to eat? It is because of past impressions. Because previously when we ate gulab jamun, we got such a taste, and the mind says, "Oh, I want such taste again," and therefore he's again taking a gulab jamun. Similarly, when one does some bad things, it is not just the bad things which is a problem. The problem is the impressions which are left because of these bad things, which takes time to wipe out. And therefore, we should be doing thing in the knowledge. He's actually learned who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal relationship to the Lord is compared to fire. Such a fire, once kindled, can burn up all kinds of reactions to work. So, development of this knowledge of eternal relationship of the Lord is compared to fire. So, one has to develop this knowledge, this Sambandha Tattva. There are three tattvas: Sambandha, Abhiday, and Prayojan. Sambandha means to establish relation with Krishna. Abhiday means the process to be followed after establishing relationship, and Prayojan means the goal which we get to after following the process. So our Sambandha with the Lord should be very strong. And when we develop the knowledge that we are spirit soul eternally, and we are actually servants of Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are Das, Dasam Das, then what is happening is gradually the Sambandh is built, the part of relationship is built. And when such relationship is built, what happens is it is compared to this fire. So when the relationship is built, one will do some action uh, in the reference to that relationship. So one may chant, one may hear, one may go to temple, one may offer some flowers, one may offer some bhoga, or one may do some or other services for Krishna. And in this way, what happens is uh, his relationship with the Supreme Personality God gets more and more tight. And therefore, what happens is because of this, all the reactions which is done previously is also burned off. So he's actually learned it who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal servitorship to the Lord is compared to fire. So once when we come new to Krishna consciousness, our first thing should be to acquire knowledge, to be very conversant with the philosophy. So if we are very conversant with the philosophy, we have right knowledge, then whatever process we follow, someone abhiday we do, japa has maximum effect. Whatever studies we do, whatever we teach, right, has much more effect than rather not knowing such things. And therefore, devotees should read books regularly as far as the circumstances allow. If not every day, at least once in a week, one should definitely read. And best is if one can read every day, maybe 15-20 minutes also okay, but reading every day is very good, so that one may do things in Krishna consciousness proper knowledge, and in thereby getting the whole results and then gradually going back to God. So let's see verse number 30. So these are the different stages of practice. So what is to be done in this practice? So let's see this verse number 20. Tatna karma phala sangam nitya tripta nirashaya karmani abhi pravritto api naiva kinchit karoti sa. Tatta, having given up karma phalas asangam, attachment for the fruitive results, nitya always, tripta being satisfied, nirashaya without any shelter, karmani inactivity, abhipravritta being fully engaged, api in spite of, na does not, eva certainly, kinchit anything, karoti do, sahi. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of understanding. So, what does one abandon is not the activities, but attachment to results of activities. So when we do activity, we are duty bound to do this activity very nicely. But the result of the activity depends on so many factors, and therefore one should not be attached to the results of activities. Ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So such a person is ever satisfied and independent, and he performs no fruitive action. So where reaction will come? Although he is engaged in all kinds of understanding. So we see this example of Prabhupada here, that he was doing so many things. He was constructing temples, managing Gurukul, managing Brahmacharya ashram, managing Grahastha disciples, and doing so many things. But because of his attachment to Krishna, what is this? All things are classified as devotional service, and there are no fruitive actions. So engagement in undertaking will not decide whether it is action or inaction, or whether the thing will generate some karma or not. What is the deciding factor is for whom we are doing that activity. Is the activity be done for Krishna or for our own sake? If the activity is done for Krishna, then there will be no fruitive activities, and that is devotionaries. But if we are doing for ourselves for sanctity, then there will be some action generated. Purport. The freedom from the bondage of action is possible only in Krishna consciousness when one is doing everything for Krishna. So actually, it is not so easy to get out those entanglement of this action and reaction all. So only by Krishna consciousness, one which one is when one is doing everything for Krishna, one can be getting freedom from the bondage of actions. A Krishna conscious person acts out of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he has no attention to the results of the action. So a person, devotee, should act only because of pure love for Krishna. And if one does not have pure love for Krishna, at least one should follow the rules and regulations of devotional service. Because we have some rules and regulations, and by gradually following the rules and regulation, what will happen is one's pure love will be awakened, and gradually one will get more and more attracted to Krishna. He is not even attached to the personal maintenance, for everything is left to Krishna. So he is not even attached that somebody should maintain him, and whatever he gets, he takes and goes through the way. For everything is because everything is left on to Krishna. If Krishna wants, he will give something. If Krishna does not want, he will give nothing. Nor is he anxious to secure things, nor to protect the things already in possession. So such a person, he's not anxious that I want these things, I want these things in life. Like most times we plan that we go there, we purchase it, and he does not protect also things that are already possession. So some things he may have some property or anything. So he may not be actively involved in protection and all. Whatever is there in his possession. He does his duty to the best of his ability and leaves everything to Krishna. So this does not mean that if he's not anxious, it does not mean that he is not doing his duty. He will do his duty, and whatever is required, he will do, but leave everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is as though as we are not, as he were not doing anything. This is a sign of akarma or actions without fruitive reaction. Any other action, therefore, devoid of Krishna consciousness is binding upon the worker, and that is a real aspect of karma as explained herein before. So, we could understand this, that what is akarma and karma, and then last is vikarma. So akarma means doing work without getting any reactions, or action of karma means doing work with some fruitive results. And vikarma means that you do what is prohibited. So from verse number 21 to 23, the stage of perfection or the Aruda stage is given. So the qualities of such a person are be given. So if we see Bhagavad-Gita, wherever there is requires some post, there is some question for knowledge and all, the main things highlighted is quality. So qualities are much, much more important than knowledge also. And therefore, we see here also the different qualities by which one may know that one is advanced or one is reached to the Aruda stage or the Siddha stage. So let's see verse number 21. Nirashir chittatma tyakta sarva parigah sharidam kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. Nirashe, without desire for the result, yata, control, chittatma, mind and intelligence, takta, giving up, sarva, all, parigraha, sense of proprietorship over possession, sharidam, in keeping body and soul together, kevalam, only, karma, work, kurvan, doing, na, never, apnoti, does require, kilvisham, skillful reactions. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his positions and acts only for the bad cities of life. Thus, working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So, uh, when one understands these things that one need to do everything for Krishna, and he acts with his mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, then what happens is he gives proprietorship all his possession. So now he doesn't become a proprietor, and thus he is not affected by the sinful reaction of the work. But for a Krishna conscious person, does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he's a part and parcel of Supreme, the part played by him as a part of and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. So a devotee should not expect good or bad results from his activity, uh, and thereby get entangled. So whatever is going to come is coming anyways, but we should not expect anything from any activity. And his mind and intelligence are fully controlled. So mind and intelligence should be controlled. So the difference between mind does thinking, willing, and feeling part. Whereas intelligence means what? The discriminative power, where one takes the decision. And both of these are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of whole is not his activity, but is only done through him by Supreme. That means that any activity he does, he gives credit to the Lord that because of Lord such activity has been performed. Actually, we don't have such qualifications. Krishna was always doubted the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal salvation. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious mind maintains himself by his work uh, just to remain fit for action in the transcendent loving sense of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. Uh, Cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kill the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna person fully engaged separation has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material since he is free from all reactions to his actions. So, whatever money we get, it should be by good means, and uh, therefore one should not possess so many things. Otherwise, what will happen is the time will be spent in that possession all, and we should not take any unfair means to take money and all everything. So nowadays it is very rampant that so many people in so many professions, illegally or legally, they will force others to give them money, and therefore uh, one should not get contaminated by such material sins, and he should be free from all reactions. यद्दशया लाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वतीतो विमत्सरा समं सिद्धौ असिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते. Yaddacha, out of your own accord, labha with gain, santushta satisfied, dvando duality, atita surpassed, vimatsara free from envy, sama steady, siddhav in success, asiddhav failure, cha also, Krito are doing api although none ever, Nivadati becomes effective. He who is satisfied with gains which comes on his own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing sacrifice. So, one should be satisfied with whatever comes out of one's honest labor, and one should be free from the heat, cold, and the man of man all. And at the same time, one should not envy that such devotees are getting such qualities I am not getting, and this way, one should not envy, and we should be steady in our Krishna consciousness in both success and failure, because success and failures will come in everybody's life. But the main points are we so much determined that every day we'll do things. A Krishna conscious person does not make such endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as it is in his power, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his honest own labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. So very important that first is he makes no endeavor to maintain himself. He does not make much endeavor, but satisfies whatever he gets, and that is also of his own accord. So that he does not beg also, he does not borrow also. But as far as possible, he does and is satisfied with whatever he gets from his honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. Therefore, he does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. Very important line that one should not allow anybody's service in such a way that it hampers our own devotional service to Krishna. So this is very important to note. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by duality of the material world. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is about duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, is steady both in success and failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. So, all these things come again and again to be steady in success and failure, and to tolerate the heat and cold, to not be disturbed by man and apman. So, for any devotee, these all qualities need to be developed gradually, and thereby one can practice devotional service very nicely. So we'll conclude here for the day. So if anybody has any doubts, any questions or anything, then we can take.